Yeah, we're recording now, I think. You've died, no?
You can hear me, Alan.
Yeah.
Good morning and welcome to Lightline, our weekly Wednesday podcast. And we discuss anything from love, light to laughter. Our guests can be authors. Our guests can be a reader of my book. Anybody's able to come on this show if they have a story. Everybody has a story to tell. Today, our guest is Alan Ryan, author of Magpie. Now, I'm in the middle of it and I'm just learning so much. It's a great story and a great read, Alan. Good morning, Alan.
Thanks, Anne. Thanks for having me on.
You're very welcome.
It's been a while since I've seen you, having gone to school in Skerries together.
And we were nippers.
We were. How was Skerries today?
Skerries? Let me look out the window. Very changeable weather, Alan. But it's great. The beaches are empty, so I can walk the dogs.
Yeah.
It's not packed. When the sunny weather was here, it was packed and I couldn't walk the dogs on the beach. So I'm being a bit selfish and saying now I have nearly the whole beach to myself when I'm walking the dogs. Only dog lovers are up and down.
Ah, you're very lucky. You're very lucky. I miss it.
Very lucky, yeah.
I miss to see you up there, I have to say. I have to be honest.
And you come up visiting?
I do. I mean, I've a lot of family up there still, but it's a long way, and I've commitments down here, and I've kids down here. So, and with COVID as well, we haven't been up much in the last year and a half now at this stage. No. But particularly,
you'll make up for it now, Alan. You'll make up for it now.
I will. Yeah. No, I'm vaccinated and raring to go, and I want my few drinks indoors and outdoors, preferably outdoors. Though.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So, Alan, can you tell me a bit about your career and what you've been doing before you start writing Magpie?
I left school with you back in 1984. I've kind of been bouncing around between jobs for a few years. I ended up in Australia, came back from Australia, went to college, did geology in college, studied geology. Then I went back to Australia and worked in the mining industry. Came back to Ireland and did a bit more college, went back to Australia again, came home, got married, had kids. I do a bit of painting, a bit of graphic design, and it seems I've written a book now as well. That's good.
Like, I know you're an author, you're an artist, you're a geologist and a sportsman. You forgot to say that about the
I forgot, yeah.
You forgot now, and very accomplished in all of these fields, Alan. Now, you're not to be too modest, Alan. We have to learn to sell ourselves on this road to our millionaire book selling.
Yeah,
books.
yeah.
We have to sell ourselves. It doesn't come easy. It doesn't come easy to do that.
No.
In the era that we were brought up, it doesn't come easy. Well, Alan, let's get to the book. Why did you write the book?
I don't know. Well, I left school and I'd failed English in the Leaving Cert, and I couldn't write anything. I couldn't face writing love letters or replying to letters and things like that. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't spell. I'd go into a cold sweat at the thoughts of having to write something. And it might have been a confidence thing. It might have been a bit of dyslexia. I don't know, but it was just I gave up on it, I suppose. And when I say I went to college to study geology, I went back as a mature student. And I was assured when I applied that they wouldn't hold my lack of spelling against me. You know, it was a science degree, and they said do the science, and that's all we're interested in. If you get the spelling wrong, that can be overlooked or corrected afterwards. So college gave me a bit of a boost. I did well in college, and a bit more confidence. Then I went and worked in the industry, then in the mining industry, and that was grand. But
in Australia, was that in Australia? Sorry to interrupt. Was that in Australia?
Yeah, gold mining and iron ore, and a bit of copper mining as well. And it was a fabulous place.
Did you find any gold? Did you find any gold, Alan?
A few little.
A few stashed away, have you, Alan, in the safe?
They weren't worth anything like the money they are now, and I think I've lost them since, to be honest. I came home because the wife was far more stable career-wise than I was, and she was a teacher down there, so we moved out to Wexford, and we've been here since 1999. I did another stint in Australia working in the mines while she was still here in Enniscorthy. But yeah, the spelling thing always reared its ugly head, and I was doing research in college and I couldn't really write it up. I couldn't sit down. There were a number of reasons why I couldn't finish it, but spelling was one of them. So that kind of went by the wayside. And in the meantime, I took up sport. I played rugby as a kid in school, but I hadn't played anything or trained, and I would have lived a relatively unhealthy lifestyle. And the mining industry isn't particularly healthy, I have to say. They feed you in the desert, to keep you sort of calm, and so that the lads don't get too rowdy. They fill us full of food, so we can't do much else. So I would have been fairly overweight and unhealthy. So I needed to do something, and I fell into triathlon, and I waddled my way around.
Triathlon, Alan, that's like going from A to Z. Like somebody who's
I watched the race over in Kilkee, and it was my brother was racing. And I was just inspired by it. I mean, you had old fellas like me and skinny lads and fat lads, and they were all doing it and they were all finishing. And I thought, that's just remarkable. And it's a bit like a circus. The race comes to town and sets up on the beach. And it's a bit of a festival, and everybody's sort of cheerful and happy and healthy. And I said, if they can do it, I can give it a stab. And I did. And I did a couple of races, and I did waddle around. And I couldn't believe how quick the young girls were just past me, and you kind of figure as a grown-up man you'd beat the little kids, but no, not a chance. And
it's like, do you ever go skiing, Alan? Do you ever go skiing
when
the little 7-year-olds are passing out and you're sliding and slipping and sliding all over the place? It's a bit like that, Alan.
Too, yes, they bounce a lot easier than we do. But the weight began to fall off, and when that happened, I began to get quicker, and before I knew it, I was doing okay. And I had an idea. In the Ironman is the long distance version of triathlon. And they have big, spectacular races on the continent in lovely settings. You have alpine mountains and lakes in the background, and it's a big festival, and balloons go off, hot air balloons go off at the start, and you have 2,000 people rushing into the sea. And I had an idea to make a video of that and try and see if we could get into the swimstart and record it. And that's initially all I wanted to do. But to do that, you had to enter the race. And to enter the race, I had to do a bit of training. And it sort of something clicked halfway through where I was more interested in the race and the training than recording the video. And it turned out I did the video in the end. But I threw this contraption of wires, because it was 2005. And he didn't have GoPro cameras or anything like that. So we had to make something out of hard drives and all sorts of bits and pieces. And it looked a bit dodgy, to be honest. And I'm coming out of the water and I had this dodgy looking package for wires and batteries to a bloke who's helping out, and to say, just mind that and I'll be back after the race. And I forgot about it then and got into the race, and the race went very well. And I really enjoyed it. And you're cycling 180 kilometers through alpine passes, and you think, this is just fabulous. You're not racing as such, you're just trying to get to the end.
And you're still doing that, Alan?
Yeah, injury kind of put paid to that for the moment. I haven't had a proper race now.
Or age, Alan? Well, maybe it's your age, Alan. Maybe age.
Yeah, that hasn't helped, I have to be honest. Yeah.
I know. You're as young as you feel, I think.
I've done on and on. I've never planned it. It's just the way it happened. 17 Ironman races.
Well done.
I've raced around the world. It's taken me around the world. And I actually did quite well internationally. And I went to the World Championships and stood on the podium in Hawaii for the old boys section. And that gave me much more confidence than anything else I've ever done, because I was starting from nowhere and suddenly I held an Irish record. And I was 42 or 3 at the time. And that kind of made me think, you can do stuff that you've written off all your life that you say you can't do. And if you apply yourself and you enjoy it, which is very important, and you persevere, you can amaze yourself at what we can achieve. So
your college, your education in Trinity gave you the confidence kind of to write, and then the
up a bit. And then I didn't finish the research I was doing because of the writing up problem. But then I found myself trying to go to Hawaii every year, which is just paradise. But it's very expensive, and I needed to try and raise some sponsorship for the World Championships to get there. So to do that, I set up a Facebook page and a blog, and I had to force myself to write blogs. And I something clicked, something happened. I don't know, maybe I just grew up a
Fantastic.
bit, and I really enjoyed writing the blogs, and I got a bit of feedback from them. It was positive. So I kind of, and obviously you get used to spell check and using laptops.
Yeah.
Trinity
But
taught
Alan,
me
I've
that
been
as well.
reading your book, and do you ever hear of Mice and Men, John Steinbeck?
I have, yeah.
Of
I think
Mice
I
and
may
Men.
even
Well,
have read it as a kid. I'm not sure. I didn't read
well,
much.
for somebody who failed English, that's just a catastrophe, because you write so detailed. It's like you're painting a picture with words.
But that's
Everything.
what I would consider myself. I wouldn't consider myself a writer. Obviously,
Well,
I've
Alan, you
overcome
are.
the problems I had with possible dyslexia. In my day, it wasn't diagnosed; it was just considered laziness. But I've always considered myself a little bit of an artist, and I look
No,
at
Alan,
things like
and
an
you're being
artist.
very modest, Alan. But just when you're writing, it reminded me of Mice and Men, John Steinbeck. When you're describing the setting of the book in Gold Park, Gold Ridge. What was the name of the place?
Goldfields, West Australia.
Goldfields. You're describing the area, your treehouse. Now, I know you lived in a treehouse. I'm fascinated with the treehouse. Was that where your treehouse was?
Yeah, no, I went out in 1989. I'd been living in London, and I wasn't going anywhere, and I needed a bit of a kick. So I went out to a few friends in Australia, and again, we didn't get up to much in Sydney. We just lay around and enjoyed the scenery. So eventually, myself and a friend headed out in a car. We got a car and headed across the country. And I ended up working on a sheep station in the goldfields when I ran out of money. And I just fell in love with the place. The color and the light is spectacular. And it's just so different.
Every word you describe, to the detail, like it's so precise, Alan. And to say that you have, it's just a contradiction in terms. Failed English, and then to write this book, Alan. It's just such an achievement.
Yeah, no.
I'm delighted. I'm not a reader. I'm like yourself, Alan. I have concentration issues and focus issues, and I prefer to write than to read. But now, since I've started this podcast, I'm reading the author's books, and I'm enjoying reading. Now, I do a chapter, and then I stop and do a chapter. But it's just excellent, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it, Alan, and I think you should just tap yourself on the back, because the blocks that we have in this life are huge. When you try to sit down and you face a blank page, it's a huge effort. You have to make a huge effort into trying to get the words on the pages. But you paint a picture with words. It's like you're painting that setting.
Yeah, I know it doesn't come easy. I've been working on this for 4 years. Initially, I'd been doing the blogs for the Ironman, and then I got injured, and it freed up a bit of time. So I started painting, and for some reason I started painting old Australian scenes from my time working back there. And this story had been in my head since the days I built my own treehouse. That was in 1989, and it just started sort of growing in my head. And maybe it was because I was around 50 when I started writing it, and you're digging up all these memories from 30 years ago, and you can get quite caught up in it emotionally. Even you're remembering a completely different world. Some people consider that history. It's before mobile phones or anything like that. You'd send the odd postcard home, and you might schedule a call on the payphone once a month back to scary.
So Jim did things that you did.
A lot of it draws on my experience. Obviously, not the main plot or anything like that, but the background information and the feel of the place and the colors.
The colors, and the spiders. The spiders you have. I nearly recognized them if I saw them, Alan. It's so detailed.
and the flies. The places.
And what's the story with the fly on the book? Every time I see it, I don't know whether it's a black mark. The fly. Every time
the fly will crawl around and then he flies off.
Ah, yeah. What's the story with the fly?
A little free fly. If you don't like the story, you can play with the fly.
Oh no, I like the story. I like it, and it's very interesting. And your background history and the way you describe each character, it's so precise. Their perception of the different personalities, the different men, and the background, it just feeds all into it. It's very good, Alan.
flattered. Thanks.
Flattered. Well, now I hope you said. So, what was your message in the book? What were you trying to tell us?
Well, I mean, the main character is going through a bit of a low in his life, and he finds himself in Australia, in the bush. He's heartbroken from a relationship that didn't work out.
Ellen?
And he kind of rediscovers his interests in things around him. And he starts, I mean, I call it Magpie because for a few different reasons. One of them is
the name of, just to say, the name of the book is Magpie.
Yeah.
That was my next question, Alan.
But it's because he begins to collect things, information and knowledge, and he's fascinated by stuff again. Whereas in his late teens, early 20s, he was just drifting. And his stint out in Australia has opened his eyes to it, and he's getting over his broken heart too, and he's beginning to sort of look in other directions. And also the goldfields. It's the whole culture, society there is built on gold mining, going back 200 years to when actually an Irishman in Kalgoorlie found gold first. Paddy Hannon was his name. But they're all, I mean, it's a society founded on scratching in the dirt for little bits of shiny things. And that's what magpies allegedly do, though I think modern research kind of suggests they don't. But common folklore, magpies, sort of dig out shiny bits and pieces. But the magpie in this book is an Australian magpie, which is a different species altogether to the European one. So there's a bit of sort of liberty taken there. And he features a bit in the story later on, and that's another reason why the book is called Magpie. But
and did you get your message across? What was your message to the reader? Like, was it about, like it says on the cover of the book, a tender journey into the broken heart of Australia?
Yeah, it's a few things. It's a very light crime novel. It's also a bit of a romance novel. There's a bit of romance in it. But it's also sort of a love letter to Western Australia. And it's a fabulous place, don't get me wrong, but it has its problems too. There are problems with addiction, there's problems with global warming and drought. There are things going on in that society, which is common to a lot of societies, but mining is and farming are the big industries, but they leave a bit of a scar on the place as well, and they don't always tread lightly on the traditions of the first peoples and the Aborigines, and they're
so they're just in for the gold and out. Get the gold and go.
They aren't. I mean, there are towns there that have built up around this, and they are vibrant communities. And I mean, they're colourful places, some of them. I mean, I'd walk around Kalgoorlie on a Saturday morning, and you would have hordes of kids out training, and it's all coordinated and organised by communities. But then you go around a corner and you have brothels. There's a bit of a contradiction there. So yeah, it's an odd place, but it's somewhere I really, really enjoyed, and it's been a big part of my life. I've been there 3 times, I think, in various jobs. When the first one was working on the sheep station, and then going back to mining a couple of times. So yeah, no, I know when you hit 50, you kind of look back in your life.
Sorry, Alan.
When you hit 50, you look back in your life and you start to reminisce, and
not too much, Alan. Don't get too much into the past.
Yeah, but I just wanted to record it before I start to forget.
Yes. Oh yeah. And did you the characters Bill and Max, are they people you met? Are they just made up?
They're all made up, yeah. I mean, you obviously draw on the experiences of people you've met throughout your life, not necessarily Australians.
Like, did you actually watch the boxing match in?
I saw that one in Sydney. I was flying out home the following day. But that pub in the place has a checkered history that gets mentioned. And
the Aurora Inn.
Yeah, I've changed the name of the pub in the town, but there is a place called Orabanda, and that has a storied past. It's actually since burnt down since I started writing the book, which was a short circuit, burnt the place out. But yeah, I changed the facts and the characters, but that chapter is roughly based on an actual event.
And did you get beaten up? Did you get beaten up by a biker?
No, I didn't. My parents asked me that as well. My parents asked me that as well, and you're trying to explain. No, it's fiction. You know, it's
fiction.
Real,
but
yeah?
Some things aren't. Some things aren't. Your dad, Jim's dad was an English teacher, and ringing home and.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going on Scary. Scary's features in it a few times.
Yeah.
I mean, we write about what we know and our experiences.
Exactly. Yeah.
We sort of weave a fiction around it. I wouldn't write about my own life. It'd be very, very drab.
I don't know. We can now add a little bit of exaggeration, but your understanding of the environment and your knowledge of the environment is like the artist. So particular, so precise, and it's just amazing. Like I feel I can see the people that I would recognize people if I saw them. I would know the town. It's so clear, Alan. Well done. Like, and it reminded me of John Steinbeck, and he's a Nobel. Is he a Nobel Peace?
Yeah, right. That's not bad at all. Yeah, but yeah, no, my work took me into the countryside. I mean, I wasn't in an office in Kalgoorlie we slept out all the time and travelled, and we're mapping the countryside. And my previous job, we were chasing sheep around on motorbikes. So you see the place, you really experience it, and the smells of it, and the color, as I said, and the light. So, and it gets into you. You know, I came back, and for years later, you'd be taking out bags of clothes, and they'd still be red from the dirt, no matter how many times you wash it. You know, it doesn't leave you.
Sorry, Alan, my dog is barking.
That's all right.
So, and how much then is autobiography? You say that, so you drew on your own experiences and then wrote the story then, you know, but the setting is the real deal.
Yeah, oh, very much so. Yeah, I mean, I've changed one or two names. The homestead and the sheep station, I've changed the name of it, but if you look on the map, it's where the real one is.
How did you manage with the spiders? And did you talk to them? Like in the book that Jim was talking to them even.
But you have to get used to
it. I would have been added there, like I don't know what.
No, it's different. I mean, I grew up in Skerries and we didn't have any of that. We didn't have snakes.
Earwigs was like the only thing.
Yeah, and the centipedes down there are vicious. But when you find yourself in that environment, you have to just enjoy them and observe them and give them, a wide berth as well. Don't go near them, but that's what makes it different. The place. And
you love Australia. Is Australia kind of a second home, Alan?
Yeah, I know. I raced Ironman down there as well. I've gone back. I have a brother down there who's got married and got a young baby. I'd hope to get back and look around, a few times. I haven't had a great. I need to get out to the Barrier Reef and have a good look around there. I've only had a quick glance at it, so
that's in the bucket
stuff
list.
to see there. Yeah, do with
the next trip.
Maybe so. Well, the book signing trip, when they open up the borders again, I'll be putting my hands up for that. It may not happen.
I keep positive. Now, Alan, you just for the people who are out there who may have a book in the drawer or may have a book in their head, you did the whole process yourself.
Yeah.
And I paid for someone to do mine. I wouldn't have the skills, but you did that yourself. How would you recommend that to others? Like this is your artistic. You did the cover. It's a striking color, beautiful colors, beautiful picture. How difficult did you find publishing your own book on Amazon? I know that you can do it on Amazon.
Yeah, no, the publishing side is the hard part. Trying to get the publicity, and Amazon can let you down at times. When I had a publication date and I thought everything, I had all my ducks in a row, and then you hit publish, people come back to you a few hours later saying it's unavailable. And you expect things to happen straight away, but that has since come together now, and it is available on all their sites.
So
Amazon, the actual putting it together was lovely. It's the kind of thing I enjoy doing. I wrote it. The first draft took me a year to write, and then I was feeling guilty about it. I thought I would just send it out to some agent or something, be done with it. It's taken up a lot of my time, and my family hadn't indulged me long enough. It's time to be rid of it, and I sent out rubbish. It was junk. And very quickly, I got replies from them sort of thanking me very much, but I wasn't suitable for their list kind of thing. And then I said, "Feck it, I'll finish it myself. I'll finish it properly." It's taken a year of my life. I didn't think it would take another 3 years to actually edit it properly and get it done. And then I was very pleased, and I've been coming around initially from very early on in the process to thinking I would produce it myself, because I like graphic design, I like typesetting and things like that. So, and it was a project. The whole thing became a project that I wanted to do myself, and it was, the end result was mine. It wasn't interfered with by various editors or publishers who wanted a different slant on it, you know. So I'll stand and fall by it myself. So,
but was the Amazon, when you're uploading it onto Amazon, was that process straightforward?
Yeah, it is. It is the actual
straightforward.
The
Would you
website
recommend
is
that to
actually
other
great.
people?
If they only delivered on what they did, what they say they would straight away, it'd be even better. They're just too big. I mean, you're trying to email somebody and you get these automated responses that drive you around the bend, and you know nobody's actually read your email. That became very frustrating. But the actual process of formatting it and uploading it and formatting the ebook, which is different again, they have their own templates for the ebook and programs, which are very easy to do. That was all very straightforward and all very simple. Getting it.
And would you think of doing it audio? Would you think of doing audio?
Well, I wouldn't be really that. But that might be
the latest thing now, audio.
I don't know. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah. And how are you getting on with it? It's only released only a week or two. It's only a week or two out.
I've only got hard copies myself last week for the first time, proper hard copies. So I have to get them out and start trying to get publicity. I have.
But you're with Buy the Book, and Rachel Drury is great at she's great at providing places for us to sell and working as a group, as a community as well.
Yeah, no, it's been brilliant. You know, if Amazon tell you it's not available, it is available in Buy the Book. It'll always be available in Buy the Book, and anyone in Ireland can get it, or anywhere else for that matter. And I have it on with Ingram Spark, who are wholesalers, I think.
Yeah, Book Depository.
But they will supply bookshops around the world, I believe. That's what they claim to do anyway. If people order them, or bookshops order them, they look up their catalogue and it's in there. So maybe if it gets a bit of traction on Amazon and people start asking in bookshops, somebody may pick it up there and it'll stack a few shelves. I'd be a bit wary about filling up bookshops with it, because they end up sending them back to you, damaged and unsold, and you end up paying for them in the end. So that would the print on demand system is great, I think.
Yeah.
You're not committing to a warehouse or an attic full of books, and the quality of the prints I find excellent. So yeah, it's for anyone
beautiful print
and likes to do their own thing and produce their own work. Yeah, it's brilliant. I'd have no qualms about recommending.
Yeah, you'd recommend that to.
Yeah, there used to be a it was a kind of a sneery attitude that people who publish their own work were vanity publishers and things like that, which is.
I read all about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not nice, you know. When you consider a musician can release something on their own label and it's considered, you know, particularly arty of them, or you know, maverick kind of music label, but if you do the same thing writing a book, for some reason it's attached to phrase vanity publishing. Yeah, I think the industry is changing with the internet, so they're just going to have to wake up and accept it. The big publishers and the newspapers and the reviewers. Their job might get a bit harder because there might be more stuff for them out there to look at before they start reviewing it, but that's how they make their living, reviewing. So.
And do you read yourself, Alan? Do you find yourself, do you prefer to write or read? Have you read my book, Alan? Have you read my book?
I've read most of it, and I will have it read by the time.
I won't say anything. We'll do it next week.
Yeah, I will have it read by then. I don't read much. No, I mean, I've been reading academic stuff for years and years and years, and I've read a few sports books. And I've always wanted to sit down and read all the great works of fiction, and learn from them. And I'll have to do it now because I'm trying to put myself out there as a bit of a writer. So yeah, I will have to. It's a bit late, but
Never late, Alan. Never late. And what about a second book? Will there be a second book? Will you do a sequel, or will you do a different book?
There might be scope for a sequel, but I'm still trying to get this one out of me.
Yeah.
It's hard to switch off until I think I've given it a good shot at some sort of publicity and hopefully received a few reviews on Amazon. I have 2 reviews at the moment. If I can get a few more, I'd be very pleased.
And Goodreads, I'll put that up on Goodreads. I'll do it when on Goodreads. You can put it on Facebook.
Very good.
People on Facebook might.
Yeah, maybe in time. Yeah, maybe. I have a few unfinished paintings to finish as well, and I'll use those, I suppose. You're painting away for hours on end, and you can start thinking. Your brain starts working in other directions. And this book came out of a series of paintings. Maybe the sequel will come out of another series of paintings, but it's not going to take as long if you do it. Well, you do learn a lot as you go along, don't you?
Yeah.
When the first book, I was just dragging it out of me.
Well, I had just articles. Mine, I didn't mean it to be a book. I just had a whole load of articles. I just put them in a book.
Yeah.
So I wasn't writing a story like nonfiction, like fiction. I wasn't writing a fiction.
Would you try it?
No.
What?
I don't. I like to teach, and I don't. No, that's not my thing. No.
Yeah, no, it wasn't my thing. I wrote race reports for the last few years on Ironman races. Very boring, I suspect, to people that don't race. And then this just dropped. It just happened. I don't know. Time was right. It was in a good place.
Fantastic.
Let's see. You haven't finished it yet, though, so you might change your mind by the time we get to the end.
So we'll talk a little bit about it again next week. I'm on the 8th chapter, and I'm hoping to have it finished. I do read it every day. That's my target, my goal.
Yeah.
So Alan, now I think thank you is in order. We got our technology sorted.
Oh, that was painful, wasn't it? I have to apologize for
something just very small not working with the Facebook.
Yeah,
everybody's had a problem.
So hopefully,
Zoom.
Yeah, hopefully this will work or compromise, and it'll go up on Facebook. But I apologize. It must be a problem on my end because it's worked for you for 5 or 6 now, is it?
Yeah.
At
least.
Anyway,
Alan, I love you and leave you. And just to say to everybody, thanks very much for listening. And we're back next week. Alan is back next week reviewing my book, 38 Shades Lighter. Hope you read it, Alan. And don't be cheap. Just looking at it. Don't be cheap.
Completely, and I'll make notes. And you have to
pick a chapter and let me know which chapter you like.
I think I've picked the chapter already. I think, yeah.
Which one?
It has to be the last one.
Laughter, yeah.
It has to be really.
It has to be the
well, you never know. I'll change. I'll let you know if I have a.
Yeah, but you can refer to others. You can refer to others. So, Alan, thank you so much. We got our technology in the end, and we're going to upload this onto Facebook now.
Assuming that tomorrow. Yeah, this may never see the light of day. You never know.
It will, Alan. We do put so much work into getting it done. It will, Alan. You have to get rewarded for your efforts. Now, okay. Oh, look at this now. Now, Alan, the very best of luck, and I'll be in touch. I'll talk to you over the messenger. I hope if that works, this Zoom works. I'll see you next Wednesday at 12 o'clock. We'll do the same thing on the Zoom.
Okay. Yeah, we get that.
Alan, thank you so much, and have a lovely evening, and hello to your
family. Thank you, and say hello to anyone Scaries who knows me.
Oh yeah, they're going to see you on they'll be leaving comments on the Facebook, Alan. You're famous now.
I get up there for a swim and a pint soon.
A pint in the snug.
Yeah. Right, Anne.
Great, Alan.
All the best.
God bless and thank you. God bless.
Cheers. Bye.